Before leaving to college, I put together 2 little terrariums. One to take with me, and one to leave with my family. Now that I'm back, I can compare them and see how they've grown. Ah, I see. So I just opened my mission papers, which means I'll be off in maybe a foreign country, maybe in Idaho, for like 2 years. And I want to give you guys more of a fighting chance of keeping my plants alive, because I really love my plants. And I really love you, too. To do this, I want to build like a nice cabinet plant storage thing. So here are my set of goals for the project. I want it to be somewhere central, so that you don't have to deal with the out of sight, out of mind of it being in the basement and stuff. Which means it'll also have to be nice looking. This should look like a proper piece of furniture that you're proud to have in our home. And last, I want it to be like dead simple to maintain. Carter and Ava aren't gonna maintain it. And as parents, you guys have bigger priorities than setting aside half an hour to water plants every other day. Not to mention when we go on vacation and you have to ask somebody to like come over every day to check if the plants are dry. So, now that you've heard my pitch, all things considered, what do you say? The parents said yes, and not only that, they offered up a cabinet for me to use. So, the plan is to modify the cabinet, throw in a bunch of plants, and add automation. Good? Good. The existing doors limited the view of the inside, but with the help of my neighbor George, we're gonna build a new door that was just one big solid pane of glass. So, I bought some furring strips and some glass, and then George and I used some tools neither of us had used before, waited overnight for the glue to dry, and set the glass in and broke it.
It's got 3 little bits.
The glass probably would have broken anyway, but it's still a pain in the butt. So, to make sure that didn't happen again, I custom ordered new glass that was twice as thick and tempered, which is like 4 times as strong. Custom glass is expensive, so I wanted to be really sure that we wouldn't have to buy another one. I bought some new furring strips for the new, thicker glass, but it had too many knots in it and was totally unusable. Then I bought some common board, which is higher quality and more expensive, and it was too warped to use. Then I bought some poplar board, which is much higher quality and much more expensive, and it was finally good enough to use. So we assembled the frame, put the glass in the frame, put the door on the cabinet, and it was too small. And going through the receipts, it was totally my fault. I ordered the wrong size of glass. It was supposed to be 28 inches, and my brain rounded it down to 24. So I had to go back to the store, buy more wood, and another bucket of wood filler. And it does work now, but it was a pain in the butt, so... Notice anything wrong with this? That's right, there aren't any plants here. That's wasted space. Bada bing, bada boom, now we got more space for more plants, you're welcome. When it comes to lighting, some of you might be saying, what do you mean lighting? Is the sun through the window not enough? And to that I say, no, it's not. Because of the inverse square law, the plant's only receiving a tiny fraction of the amount of light it would receive outside. Now, I'm not gonna go buy any fancy schmancy grow lights, 1, because they're expensive, and 2, because in general, emphasis on in general, plants don't actually need anything special from their light, they just need it to be bright. So I picked up a bunch of garage lights, marveled at the amount of lights I have, threw them into the tank with a Christmas light timer, and now we're good to go. Next up, I drilled some holes. There's holes for airflow, holes for cords, holes for the misting system. Speaking of the misting system, it's the selling point of the entire project. So it's gotta be rock solid reliable, and it's gotta be able to run for at least a week without refilling the tank. Now that limits my options to one brand, and that's Mist King. So Mist King has made the best misting systems in the hobby for decades, which means they have a track record of being reliable and having great customer service. But the problem with that is since they're the only one who does what they do, they can charge whatever they want. So the cheapest Mist King system online ran me $260. Ah! So this is how it's gonna work. Water from the reservoir goes into the pump, which pumps it up to the misting nozzles, which water the terrarium. As water evaporates and gets used up by the plants, you refill the reservoir with distilled water. I slapped it all together, and I forgot to plug in the hose twice and flooded the house with water. But now that it's all connected, it's working exactly the way it should be. Also, I connected this sensor to a light to tell you when the water's low, so you don't forget to refill it. Landscaping it. What I do here will make the difference between having a portal to the rainforest in my living room and having a box with plants in it. So it's really important that I get it right. I prepared by watching a lot of Serpa design tutorials online. I talked to the guy who sold me the misting system, and I used a bunch of photos online to help me figure out what I wanted. I carved a bunch of insulation foam, went to the eye doctor from getting insulation foam in my eye. I painted the foam with Drylock and cement color, and I siliconed it in. I put in a drainage layer of clay pellets which will stop water from pooling at the bottom of the dirt, and I put a barrier to stop the dirt from mixing with the clay pellets. Then I put in this fake piece of wood, and now it's time for the dirt. If I use regular dirt from outside, it will turn into a putrid anaerobic pile of rot. So I need to make my own dirt. I'll start with cocoa coir, which is shredded coconut husks, and it stays fluffy even when it's super wet. Sphagnum moss will help it hold a lot of water. Bark and pumice will help it stay chunky and hard to compact. And charcoal filter stuff, I guess? I don't know. And worm castings add nutrients for the plants. And I threw in some isopods and springtails to prevent mold. So once I put it in, it's finally time for the plants. Alright, so putting the plants in is my favorite part of the process. And when I went to go do it, the camera got bumped, so I didn't get any of the footage. So I'll just show you after the fact. Here's what they all are, and why I did what I did with them. This one, 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 this one. So these are like climbing vining plants. They'll take up vertical space and hopefully start to cover the hardscape. This one, 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 this one. These are more bushy plants, so they'll take up a lot of floor space. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. These low-to-the-ground plants will kind of fill in the gaps and dangle around and look pretty. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. These epiphytes can be planted directly onto the hardscape, and they look pretty cool. So these are too big to fit. These succulents would melt, and this plastic plant is plastic. After a month of work, it's all done. The misters come on 4 times a day to make sure it's humid and never dries out. The reservoir lasts 3 weeks between refills, and the sensor makes sure you never forget to refill it. This tempered glass front door stays completely scratchless, letting you see the whole thing unobstructed, and it can't be broken by anything less than a drop kick. It's visible from the family room, the table, the kitchen, and even upstairs. Now let's see how the family likes it. Eva, thoughts on the terrarium? Go. I'm recording.
It's really pretty.
I saw that video. I have to go back and look at the video again.
Thank you. You're being a lot more sincere than I think Eva was.
You literally came up to me and you were like, what do you think about it?
I absolutely love it. I don't have to work hard to maintain it for 2 years.
I don't know. It looks like you pulled it out of the Denver Zoo or something. Like,
I just said it was pretty. I'm sorry. It's extraordinary, rare.
it's like it's right where you would think the TV is, and then you just sit down on the couch and it's freaking snakes or something in there.
Carter, thoughts on the terrarium? You should put a frog in there.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
That's a great thought.
I should get a frog.
Okay.
I think it looks super awesome. I'm just a little sad when Mom tells me you spent hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
True story.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Thank you for the positive reviews. I'll Venmo you your bride money in a bit. Thank you to my parents for letting me take apart their 20-year-old cabinet and turn it into this. Thank you for always loving and supporting me. And I love you too. And now you can't forget it.